Roseanne, you mentioned in our last call that a lot of your work is sort of revolves around imagining a desired future state for housing systems, and then sort of that kind of that utopia idea, and then working back into how will the plumbing work in that utopia, like really specific kinds of how do we get there questions. I'm wondering if maybe that might be a frame of what you can imagine over a couple of years from now, or maybe 10 years from now, and then what needs to happen today, or what needs to happen in the next year to move towards that desired future state.
Sure. Well, with respect to homelessness, I certainly want to assert that this shouldn't be seen as utopia, but just like what a new and achievable normal should be, which is homelessness in any community is rare. And if the housing emergency occurs, that is brief and properly resolved. We already, and I'll just zoom back a bit, Community Solutions supports a national learning network called Built for Zero, which now involves 81 cities and counties across the country. And all of these communities are totally committed to the idea that that future state is achievable, that housing systems are redesigned and perform so that the community is accountable, not someone in distress and overwhelmed and victimized by a host of things for somehow navigating their way to the most effective help. So what has been powerful in moving now 13 of our communities to a functional zero definition, which means homelessness is rare and brief, that anyone becoming homeless can be rehoused very quickly, and that increasingly it's not happening at all. And 13 communities have gotten to that end state and held it for one or more populations, and another 48 are showing steady reductions. And I think what we have learned that is maybe relevant to all of our work, and in this moment that, as Raj said, like, where do things that are so fluid get hardened? They should get hardened around measurable results, not just good intentions, but like what across a population do we want for ourselves and each other in any community? We don't want anyone to be homeless. We don't want people to be victims of interpersonal violence. We don't want individuals to experience injustice in the criminal justice system. How do we measure what that looks like and shift our culture so that we are collaborating for those results, we're measuring where we are, and we're not holding on to old ways of doing things, either old budgets, old patterns, old training, if it's not serving that end. And this idea of collaboration, a real-time person-specific feedback loop to tell us whether our intentions are getting translated to reality, we're finding that that has been the real breakthrough path in helping communities end homelessness, and that it's a way of thinking and working that actually is not, it's not so magical at all. It's like the way the software industry works. It's the way manufacturing, global health works. If you're trying to end an epidemic or spread an effective public health treatment. So this idea that collaboration supported by data around a shared goal, which a whole community holds itself accountable for, is what we're seeing is the path to reducing and ending homelessness, to getting to that functional zero state. And this is a moment where I think, so much, we're all seeing that everything is broken. What's going to be the basis for a future state of progress? And this idea of shared intentions that get measured and being free to change what we're doing if we're not getting the results, that's what we think about a lot. That's what we're seeing happening in Built for Zero communities.